good exercise, and it just gets you thinking about what the different things were rather than me just telling you. Especially with younger students, I would almost never do an activity like this where I'm like asking them to guess what the name of something is. There's a certain point the name becomes arbitrary. When you're doing those types of like, you should be able to figure this out past, it's usually more grounded in a concept. So like a math concept, there's literally can figure out with tools, but conventions, cultural things, names of things are oftentimes somewhat arbitrary. So, and that's also why I'm not going to ask you to share out which one you thought it was, just to check it. Because it's like, well, how would I know the difference between interactive and guiding? Like, it is somewhat arbitrary. But the idea was that you had a chance to think about it before we talked about it. So that was my metacognitive moment for our session. Because a common mistake, especially in elementary, you don't see as much. You see as the teachers ask students to guess what something is. They don't really have a way to know because you either know it or you didn't, because it's a more arbitrary thing as opposed to a concept you can figure out. So, teacher uses the input from students to write a list of animals the students saw at the zoo. That is shared writing. And the key thing there is that the teacher is holding the pen, the students are saying what to write. In his journal, a student draws Spider-Man and writes SDRM. It's independent writing because the student is working entirely independently. While the students observe, the teacher writes her name on a label put on the desk. That's just modeling. The teachers are just watching the student, the teacher is deciding what to write and is doing the writing. As the teacher and students work together to come up with directions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the teacher invites students to the board to write the first sound he hears in sandwich. And that's actually a really particular structure we're going to look at in depth today called interactive writing. The idea is that the pen is going back and forth between the teacher and the students. That there's a group of students that are helping come up with the content of the writing, and one kid is coming up at a time, but all the students are engaged in some way. And then the last one is guided. The teacher works with a small group of students to write a response to a guided reading book. She helps them formulate a complete sentence and write it in their reading response journals, supporting students as they sound out words and locate words on the word wall. And what makes that guided as opposed to interactive is that all the students have pens. In the interactive writing, there was one pen that was being shared back and forth between the teacher. In the guided writing, all the students are doing the writing, but they're being prompted by what to do by the teacher. And certainly you can see how these would like interact, or one might blend into the other. The idea is that these are like hard and fast categories, or that we can do a sorting exercise with it, but that you can just see some of the different levels of release there can be when you're doing a writing exercise with students. So going from highly teacher-directed to highly student-directed, modeling is the most highly teacher-directed, followed by shared writing, interactive writing, guided writing, and independent writing. So are there questions about why I call which one the way it is, or kind of more importantly, like the level of directedness, why I put them in that order? All of them can be used in an ECE setting, but one that's particularly powerful is interactive writing. So we're going to dive in. We're going to read through a lesson plan. I'm going to model with some help from some brave volunteers an interactive writing lesson, and then you guys will get a chance to try it on your own. So you can think about how it might be used with your students. So in your electronic handouts, you scroll down past the continuum. Oh. Here, you will see an interactive writing lesson plan model. Just take a few minutes to read through that, and then I'm going to run through this lesson as a model.